Hello to everyone and good evening to all of you. Welcome to our live session on sharing with FIS students in IMU. My name is Miss Shirley and I'm one of the senior lecturers in Foundation in Science. So I am one of the moderators today together with my co-moderator, Mr. Benjamin Che. So we would like to share a few housekeeping rules before we proceed to our session. We have muted the microphones for all the attendees. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you may use the question and answer panel, or you can even state your question in the chat. And this live webinar will be recorded. So to introduce, I'm Miss Shirley, and we have Mr. Benjamin. He is the FS 323 intake class rep, and he also holds quite a number of prominent roles in UNICEF. He's a UNICEF young leader, he's a UNICEF champion trainer, and he's also a member of the National Coalition of Mental Wellbeing. So I would like to pass on the session to Benjamin.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Benjamin Che. And before we dive into the FIS forum, I would like to thank all of you for joining us here today and with our amazing FIS panelists. And so before we take a deep dive, let's introduce our panel members one by one. And let's have the first one, Aya Elisa binti Sohaili. Please introduce yourself.
All right, Assalamualaikum and good evening, everyone. My name's Ira Elisa. I was the batch rep, one of the 6 batch reps for the 3rd intake for FIS in 2021. And I'm currently one of the batch reps for the 2nd intake of 2022 for the MBBS program. And I was also the secretary of the Muslim Society last year and an international student buddy.
Thank you, Arya. Very impressive. Let's move on to Ravina.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ravina Paneselvam, and I'm originally from FS 321. I'm currently a second-year MBBS student here at IMU. Just a little bit about me. I'm currently holding the IMU 100% merit scholarship for ME 123, and listed above is some of my other qualifications as well. I'm very glad to be here today. Hope you are too.
Thank you, Ravina. Let's move on to David.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Davin, and I'm an ex-FS 322 student. I'm currently a first-year dental student. Currently, also, I'm the president of the IMU First Aid Club, and nice to meet all of you.
Thank you, Devin. And last but not least, let's have Luke Ipa.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone. I'm Luth Iqbal. I'm from FS 124. I'm currently in my 2nd semester in Foundation in Science. I also, little information about me is I participated in the National Varsity Track and Field for 100 meter and 200 meter. And I also actively active in a lot of sports and also clubs.
All right, thank you so much, Luke. As you can see, we have had a lot of our panelists here who's active in a lot of events and a lot of roles. They assumed a lot of presidential roles. So I think it's best and most appropriate for us to start with Ravina. First and foremost, congratulations on securing the IME scholarship. Can you please share with us on the process and a bit of the intricacies involved for obtaining the IME scholarship for our listeners here today?
Thank you so much. Of course, I will be more than happy to. So the application for the Foundation in Science Scholarship and Bursary varies slightly than the application process for the undergraduate program scholarship. When it comes to the FIS, the scholarship and bursary is awarded automatically, and it does not require an application process. The amount awarded will be based on the student's actual SPM, IGCSE, or O-level results. So the higher your grades are, the greater the amount of the scholarship. When it comes to the undergraduate program, on the other hand, the process is slightly lengthier. Slightly would be an understatement, honestly. Before I go over the process, I would just like you to know there are 3 main scholarships you could apply for. There's the IMU Merit, is the one that I currently have. IMU NEET, as well as Pantai Gleneagles. They all have their specific requirements, which is quite comprehensively stated in the IMU website under scholarship and financial aid. When the application period begins, you would need to fill in a form with your details as well as send in your personal statement. So I believe the topic for the personal statement has not changed from when I first applied for the scholarship. And the topic for me was, tell me why you deserve the scholarship under 300 words. After submitting, you will need to wait for an acknowledgement email where they would ask you for any additional documentation. So this could be things like your conditional offer letter, transcripts, or your parents' financial statements if you're applying for the IMU NEET or Pantai Gleneagle scholarships. After shortlisting applicants, they would send in another email to notify regarding an interview session. So the interview session for me personally was quite nerve-wracking, but overall the interviewers were quite nice, and it gave me a chance to further expand on why I was a worthy candidate beyond the 300 words that I had written in my personal statement, because there's no way 300 words is enough to do anyone justice, right? After the interview session, I believe it was around 2 to 3 days before I received one of the best news of my life, honestly. And immediately after, you would sign the agreement and you're officially an IMU scholar. So yeah, that's about the whole process. And if it's still too confusing, I completely understand. I was too. We have a lot of info up on our Instagram page named at IMU Scholars. So you could always look up there if you're confused during the process.
Thank you, Ravina. You did mention a lot of the roles that you stated earlier that you didn't get a chance to emphasize. So that means that you're extremely active in a lot of activities, and I think that's one of the prime reasons that you got the scholarship. So how are you able to juggle your responsibilities of, having to organize all these events while having to maintain your studies at a good grade at the same time?
I think for me, the key is that despite being involved in many extracurricular activities, I will never let them come at the expense of my academics. Ultimately, I'm a student first, and I will always prioritize my studies above all else. And what this means for me is that I will only take up activities and events that I know I would be able to focus on while still keeping up to date with my studies. And I think it's just an additional factor as well that I only choose activities that I feel truly passionate about and I know I can learn a lot from. Well, it's easy to say this right now, but there are going to be days where your responsibilities are beyond what you expected. And hence, something else that I found quite useful was having a physical bullet journal. So I actually have it with me right now, and I don't think you can see it, but yeah. People know this about me quite often, and I even like to bring it up in every interview I attend where they would ask for your strengths and weaknesses, right? And I always mention to them that having good time management is one that I truly believe in it, because being able to have my timetable with my deadlines and pending tasks all laid out in one place really helps me prioritize the various tasks I have very efficiently. I believe that a physical bullet journal or even digital tools like Notion can be incredibly helpful for university students, and they are definitely a big part of how I manage to juggle many tasks simultaneously.
Thank you so much, Ravina. I do agree on the whole time management and having a priority list and so on. So thank you so much. Let's move on to another scholar. Darwin, you're a JPA scholar. So could you share a bit on the process of being a JPA scholar and how to be one?
Hi everyone. So yes, thank you. So for this JPA scholarship, this scholarship is offered by the government, the Malaysian government, under the Public Service Ministry, and it is offered to those who have just completed their Form 5 or SPM, hence the name LSPM, Lepasan SPM. Well, other than LSPM scholarship, GPA also offers a variety of other scholarships with their own categories and their own pathways. Well, GPA's aim is to equip young talent in ensuring that they can pursue a career that can benefit the nation and country in the future. Well, for me, it all started after I received my SPM results, and thankfully I got the required results to apply for the scholarship. And this scholarship can only be applied for those who have achieved 9A plus and above. So that's actually quite a high mark right there. And after being able to apply, you have to fill in your details, like your future plans and also your family background and such. And then from there, you still have to go through the selection process, and those selected will go for an interview. During the interview stage, it is divided into two parts. The first part being the individual component and the group component. As you can see in the screen, so there's part A and part B. So for part A, interviewees will be asked about what are their plans in terms of their study, what career do you want to pursue, and after getting your degree, where do you want to be? And all of this just to know more about you, about your maturity, and also to see whether you have plans to come back to serve the country. And for the second part, part B, you'll be in groups where, like for me, I was with a few of my friends, and we were given a question, sometimes even a controversial one, like in the case of should students be allowed to bring their handphones to school? And we had to debate on it. So this was a time where they really wanted to gauge our problem-solving skills, our presentation, and as well as our leadership skills. So from there, to be honest, I was quite nervous because I had to present it in Malay. So I definitely had to sharpen up my Malay language. But as always, even for all interviews, it is important for us to be ready, be confident, and most importantly, be genuine. As long as you try your best, and hopefully God will do the rest. And when I got the scholarship, it was one of the happiest moments in my life. But after getting it, it's also equally important to maintain the scholarship. And that's what I had to do. During FIS, it is important to maintain a minimum of 3.7 CGPA. And as you progress on to undergraduate studies for medicine and dentistry, a pass is required for you to keep that scholarship. And most importantly, good conduct is key. Attending lectures, sitting for examinations are all JPA and all scholars should do, and even to the rest of us, as it is important, as it guarantees that we excel academically. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Darwin, for sharing on the JPA scholarship. So as a JPA scholar, I believe that you've had a few choices to enter into the School of Dentistry, I believe. And so, like, what is your why is it a definitive choice for you to select IMU FIS and later down IMU Dentistry?
All right, thank you. That's a good question. Well, actually, during my secondary school years, even primary school years, it has always been my dream and aim to be a dentist. And with a clear goal in mind, it was a bit easier in that way. But previously, during my secondary school years, I also had the opportunity to get to know IMU, where I joined IMU's Biomedical Science Week, where our school was invited to join this event. And it was during the COVID-19 pandemic. And for me, that was one of the memorable moments during the pandemic period, because IMU successfully organized it in a very fascinating and interesting way that opened my eyes to the vast field of health sciences, where we got to see how from a case scenario, a person I remember had an infection. They had to undergo tests where they teach you, they show you the processes, and you also have the chance to fill your own lab report and try to predict the diagnosis. So that was a very eye-opening experience to me, and really highlighted that IMU, previously known as International Medical University, was definitely a great university that expands the field of science. And at the crossroads of deciding which pre-university course was to take, and after getting the scholarship, I was very thankful that IMU was one of the lists under the scholarship by JPA, and still is to this day, where scholars who wish to further their studies in medicine and pharmacy can choose IMU, as IMU is well recognized by the government, by JPA. And I was glad that I could go for this opportunity to study foundation in science, and even now carrying out dentistry as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, David. It's very inspirational to hear your journey over and how IMU has indirectly inspired you to be as part of the dentistry program. So I believe after this small session, we've had a bit of knowledge on two scholarships that our viewers might be interested in taking. So one being the JPA pathway. So minimally, you need to get 9A plus for your SPM, or the alternate pathway in which you apply for IMU Merit Scholarship after your foundation year. So thank you so much. And now I would like to move on to Arya. So Arya, you were a class rep and also a class rep now for ME. So could you please share your experience on being an FIS class representative and your involvement in the curriculum assessment committee meeting? Can you tell us a bit about what that is and what is your role?
Thank you very much for this question. It's actually one of my favorite questions, but my experience as a FIS class representative was a largely positive one. So firstly, if anyone's curious, the process for being selected as a class rep happens during orientation, and you go through an interview selection basically with your seniors who conduct your orientation. I'm not sure if that's still the system now, but that's how it went with me. So my experience as a class rep, it helped me make a lot of friends, obviously, because everyone knows who you are and they come to you for help. And it's always an honor to help other people. I found it difficult to maybe stay on top of things because, well, of course, that's important. You need to know everything so that you can tell everyone when they ask you for help. But and also we had to always know the timetable. We would send everyone their timetable because not everybody knows how to use the timetabling system for IMU, the TIMS, especially in the beginning. So that was a large responsibility. But because in FIS there are 6 class representatives that share the responsibilities equally, it wasn't very burdensome. Basically, it wasn't a heavy burden. And as for my involvement in the curriculum assessment committee meeting, basically we had the responsibility of collecting feedback from everyone in our batch. IMU is very heavy on feedback because they want to know what they can change about the program to make it better for you while you're doing it, and also the people that come after you. So we would collect feedback using a Google form, and then after that, basically put it into an Excel sheet, and it would be the responsibility of 2 reps for every meeting to explain it to the committee or the lecturers present, and then try to get solutions for those problems. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Right. Thank you so much, Arya. So there is a lot of rewards that come with being a class rep. And it's until now, it's still your seniors who will pick, even until our time in 323, and even for 224, the latest batch. So thank you so much, Arya, for sharing on being a class rep. And last but not least, for our academic section, Iqbal. So first and foremost, congratulations on securing a 4-pointer CGPA in your first semester. And as previously mentioned as well in the slides, you are also very active, especially in terms of sports. So what is the driving motivator for you to still be involved in those activities? And how are you able to balance this with your studies in contrast to other people or in contrast to other scholars?
Okay, hello everyone. As for my motivation is actually to be a well-rounded student that have a healthy lifestyle, very capable in soft skills and leadership skills. I really think that having a healthy body will help you a lot in your studies because it will help your brain functionality will increase as well as your energy level. Your problem-solving skills also, along with your adaptability skills to various environments, will really help you to cope and perform well under pressure. This is a very good trait, especially as a student in the medical field.
See. Right, thank you so much, Iqbal, on the importance of staying active in the midst of all the studying, especially as a healthcare student. So, with that in mind, thank you so much for the for 4 panelists on the academic section. I'll now pass back to Ms. Shirley on the support and facilities provided by IMU.
Thank you, Benjamin. So before we move on to the support and facilities, we can actually address a few questions in the chat and also in the Q&A section. There is this one question where this person has asked if the students are allowed to wear T-shirts and sports shoes to school. So before I give further details on that, I would like to ask Iqbal here, who's very professionally dressed today, on his answer first. I would like him to answer this first, and then I will summarize after him.
Okay, for the dress code in IMU, we usually will wear button-up shirts with slacks and also leather shoes that cover not slides or any sandals. Especially for a male student, we really need to dress professionally for, as perspective of others is the first impression of us that will really make how people will judge us. So in IMU is really encouraged, and you need to wear button-up shirts as well as slack pants and also leather shoes that cover all your feet.
Okay.
Thank
you,
you.
Iqbal. So basically, the dress code in IMU is formal wears on Mondays to Thursdays. Fridays, it's a casual wear setting where we allow collared T-shirts, not the basic regular round neck tees. So sports shoes is allowed on non-practical days. Why we mention non-practical days? Because for the lab sessions, we have a very more proper dress code that we need to observe because of safety issues, because we are dealing with chemicals and all. So we would provide more details on that dress code guidelines once the students come in for our sessions. And also to note that students who eventually need to attend sessions in our clinical skills and simulation centers, they are very strict in formal wears as well. So students will need to adhere with formal dress code. It resembles professionalism. Okay, so that's the answer for that. And there is also another question in our Q&A panel where the question is there gym facility that we can use? Yes, there is gym facility that is available for students to use as well. Okay. And we also have another question. Do students in FIS require textbooks or do we use lecture slide? So for this, perhaps I would like to ask 2 students who are already in their undergraduate. So maybe you can give your feedback on whether reference books, textbooks are required, or did you rely a lot on the lecture notes? So perhaps to Ira. Ira maybe can answer that.
Thank you very much, Miss. So actually, in FIS, our slides that we received were actually quite dense. They contain a lot of information. I feel like our lecturers were very kind to us in that aspect. But textbooks could be nice to fortify the information that we get. To fact check if there's anything that you find you don't understand. Maybe it adds a little bit more explanation if you're too shy to ask your lecturers or something. But of course, you can lectures and they'll say it during the lectures as well. But in my experience, I didn't require any textbooks. I used solely the lecture slides.
Okay. How about Ravina?
I agree with Ira on the fact as well, because most of our examinations are also just solely based on the information that we have learned from the lecture slides. So I don't believe you would need any textbooks in addition. But our IMU does provide you with their online library as well. So if you would want to access the online library for textbooks, you will not have to pay in addition for that resources. So that's a really nice thing as well for us as undergraduate students, especially because we have PBLs and TBLs where we have to look up our own material. It's really helpful in that sense. But for FIS, lecture slides are more than enough.
More than enough, yes. How about Davin? Was the lecture slide sufficient for you?
Yes, Miss. Yes, I think with what Ira and Ravina has mentioned, yes, lecture slides are sufficient for you to excel in FIS. But as always, even with our lecturers' advice, it is also there's no harm learning more. So if you want to utilize the IMU's library and their online library, as mentioned by Ravina, feel free to do so as it expands your knowledge.
Okay. Thank you, Davin. So now we will go to a few questions with our students here before I move on to more questions from the chat and also the Q&A. All right. Now, you all have mentioned that you all are very active in a lot of activities. And at the same time, you guys have been able to maintain a very good CGPAs as well. So some of you have mentioned just now on your tricks on how you were able to have a proper time management and all. But to note that foundation is actually something that you have come right after your high school. It's like fresh into a university level. So definitely it's not something that, you can adapt very quickly. So was there anything in particular in foundation that you found was like a good support system for you to be able to manage this? So we would like to hear from you. So you can talk about the type of support that you received in order for you to be able to have better time management, for you to be active in your curricular activities, extracurricular, and also in your lessons. Okay, maybe we can start with Ravina.
Of course. For me personally, I did not find FIS too stressful by any means. The pacing of our lectures and the amount of content that we got, especially since our lecturers were so clear in their teaching, it was quite easy for me to handle FIS academic wise. But there was one point in FIS that I really struggled with, which was my scholarship application. I didn't have the resources for it. I was quite...
Ravina's line is a bit glitchy at the moment.
So I was quite in the...
Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Not yet. It was a bit lagging just now.
Clear.
We can try again now.
Yeah. Am I audible now? Sorry.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, sorry. Oh, so where did I start glitching? I can repeat. It's okay.
Okay. You were talking about it was not very stressful in FIS.
Yeah, I personally didn't find the academic part of it stressful. Yeah. But there was one point that I did find stressful was right after, right when FIS was going to end and I was applying for the scholarship. I was quite in the blue because, and I was also really stressed because I didn't know about the scholarship application period and if I had to wait till I got my exam transcripts for me to apply. And this was definitely weighing heavily on my mind because if I didn't apply for the scholarship on time, not only would I risk taking out a student loan, but I'll be also putting financial strain on my parents and also on me in the future. So in that sense, what helped the most in IMU was the mentoring support that I received from my mentor that I'm still really, really close with. And her name is Miss Chow Kit May, and she was our organic chemistry lecturer. Not only was she an amazing lecturer who made my chemistry hating self enjoy chemistry so much, but she was also a very fantastic mentor to me. I sent her a message regarding my scholarship application and she got back to me really, really quick. And she gave me a lot of information regarding the scholarship application as well as the documentations that I would need. And this really eased my mind and allowed me to make the best informed decision. And now I have the scholarship, and part of it is thanks to her. And all in all, the mentorship program in IMU has been helpful to, I know, a lot of students and me personally in this sense.
Okay, that's really nice to hear from you, Ravina. And how about Davin? What was the type of support that you found that was very helpful for you to be able to manage both your activities and also your academic progress?
Well, for me, even I agree with what Ms. Shirley mentioned. As we transition from our usual secondary studies to undergraduate, lots of things change. And for me, one of them is in terms of your mindset. So I think that was what I needed to change, and that was what even Foundation in Science helped me to change and to mature as I realized that I really needed to take ownership of whatever I'm studying. And the lecturers are very kind and helpful in that by doing very well, even in lectures. And I don't really remember any lectures that I found was boring, because all of them, all the lectures that I've attended, I remember feeling very interested and hooked on. And I think the lecturers in IMU have really done a great job in delivering good lectures. What I mean by good is that I remember lecturers, even like Miss Shirley, they will give very real life applications to whatever you're learning. They're showing you and showing us a way that we don't need to memorize everything that we see in the slides, but to really get that understanding, and from there, all the knowledge concepts fit into that picture. And I remember lots of our lecturers from FIS also draw beautiful mind maps to encapsulate lots of slides together. So it makes it easy for you to see the bigger picture. So in terms of that, I feel there was a really great academic support for me. But obviously, there would still be things that I may not have grasped. And that was when I would ask questions. And it is very important for us to ask questions to clarify them. And I'm really glad and grateful that the lecturers in IMU are very helpful. Sometimes I will find myself asking too many questions, but that's a good thing. And even though I ask them at maybe not so good hours as well, the lecturers are more than happy to guide you through all of them. And I even remember some of them being willing to have extra classes to clarify those concepts, and that really gave an assurance to me that I was heading into the right direction. And last but not least, the way the curriculum is structured is actually, I would say, friendly for the students in FIS. They really ensure that you master the basics, just as the tagline for Foundation in Science, getting your foundation right. So I remember my lecturer telling me that the aim of their teaching was to ensure that you get those basics right. You don't need to master lots of vast concepts in one go, but once you get the basics and really ensure quality, and that's enough for you to set a good foundation as you enter into your degree. So the basics will include even wearing the appropriate attire as you conduct laboratory experiments, like wearing gloves, following the proper dress code. All of these are actually basics that we need to practice and sharpen even in Foundation in Science. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Davin. We will take a short break from this discussion with the students, and we will take a look at the questions that are lining up in the Q&A section and also in the chat. So there is one question. Is there a study room that we can use? We do have study rooms. Iqbal, would you like to mention what type of study areas that we have in our campus?
Okay, first and foremost, I'm currently in one of the study room at the campus, actually.
Okay.
I'm at one of the PBLs, which is the project-based learning area.
Mhm.
And then we also have QSA, which is a quiet study area where students who want a very quiet environment to study. We also
Mhm.
have CSA, which is collaborative study area, where students can collaborate with each other without restricting their voice or just having fun while studying.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Iqbal. So we do have quite a number of study areas that we have, depending on the nature of the student study method. So if you like discussion type, then you will be happy studying in the PBL area, what we call as a problem-based learning area. And if you're the person who likes to study in a very quiet place, then you have the QSA area in the library. So that there are many areas in the campus that will be good for you to study. We do have these spaces in our campus. So there is another question here. What is the timetable like? What time do I need to be in school and finish? So perhaps I would like to direct this question to Ira.
All right, thank you, Ms. Shirley. So the timetable for FIS is slightly more packed than undergraduate, but slightly more free than high school. So I would say maybe we had 3 to 4 classes a day, maybe 1 to 2 hours in duration. Practicals are usually 3 hours, so like at most 3 hours. And what time do you need to be in school and finish? So basically, hours usually start at 8 and finish at 6 at most. So yeah.
Okay. So generally, the earliest class can be as early as 8 a.m. and the late class in the evening can be at about finishing at 6 p.m. But it's not the same schedule on a daily basis. So the timetable will differ on a weekly basis, but students will be receiving the schedule for the entire semester once they come for the first week of classes. So we rarely have any change of classes here and there unnecessarily, unless of course there is some emergency holidays and ad hoc things that comes in between. All right. We also have another question here. Is it a must to be active in extracurriculum? I am scared I can't cope. So for this this question, I would like to direct it to Ravina. Since you're pretty active and you're able to maintain good results, good grades, so is it a must to be active in extracurriculum?
I don't think it's really necessary to be active in extracurriculums. For me, I just enjoy doing extracurriculums because I feel that it allows me to expand on my soft skills, allows me to meet new people and foster connections. It's not necessary for sure, but then in your FIS and UG program, I feel like IMU's timetabling is quite structured in a way that will allow you to partake in extracurricular activities without feeling too overwhelmed. It's just based on your own capability. So don't push yourself to do it. But if you do feel like you're able to, then I would definitely encourage extracurricular activities because you're going to be gaining a lot of skills that you would use further when you're in your professional life.
Thank you, Ravina. So it's a very clear answer. There is also one question here. Do you all really get first choice preference to go into degree program in IMU? So perhaps I can direct this question to our moderator himself, Benjamin, who has just finished his semester 3 and he's going to the undergraduate program soon. So what is the process like, Benjamin, for you to get into your preferred programs in degree?
Yeah, so thank you, Miss. So basically, for me, I did get my first preference, which is MBBS. So I'm stated to go into MBBS next month, the ME 224 intake. So for the application process, you can actually start applying for your desired undergraduate degree program as early as the start of Sem 3 or the end of semester 2. So once you get your semester 2 results, you can immediately apply. And I think apart from medicine and dentistry, if you're applying through FIS, you get, I think, the waivers for every other degree program for your application fees, if I'm not mistaken. And so if your grades are, say, for MBBS, it will minimum 3.5 for your local track, fully local 5 years here, and 3.775 for if you are targeting twinning programs. So 2 years here, 3 years outside. And so after you applied and you are deemed, they receive your application, you can then sit for your MMI, which is your multiple mini interviews for degrees such as medicine and dentistry. And for others who which do not require your MMI, you will receive your conditional offer letter if your grades are up to par. So once you have received your conditional offer letter, it will state that oh, you have to maintain a certain CGPA and for you to successfully enroll into the program after your semester 3 results. So that is how the application goes by. And if you do maintain, then congratulations, you've already entered your first degree. So a lot of concerns concerning whether you can get your first degree or whether you have enough time. And that I say yes, because the first week, once you come back to school, once you come back to campus for your semester 3, I think the second day, there will be a briefing on admissions and applications. So by then, you will know everything there is to know about how to apply, when to apply, and whether do I get to apply. So don't worry about it. They will guide you through. So that's all for the application.
Thank you, Benjamin. So it's really good to note that our FIS students actually get the privilege for them to apply for their preferred degree at the beginning of semester 3 itself, so long as they meet the requirement from their semester 2. So this puts them in a front row for them, to get the privilege to apply first compared to other pre-U levels. All right. So thank you, Benjamin, for that. There is also a few more questions, and then we can proceed to our discussion on the support and facilities. So there are two questions here on dress codes, specifically for girls and all. Basically, it's formal wear. Yeah, so it's not much of difference. We just emphasize on professionally dressed on Mondays to Thursdays, and you're allowed to wear collared t-shirts on Fridays. Yeah, all right. So that's it. Nothing beyond that. There's also another question here. When can students change to use the gym if they are normally wearing formal? So usually it's like after your classes. I mean, you can plan your gym sessions, but of course we have sufficient amount of washrooms and all that you can change your attire before heading for your gym sessions. Okay. All right. Now let us go back to one or two more questions regarding the support and facilities. Let's talk to Iqbal. Now, Iqbal, now you're currently in semester 2, and I'm sure you may have some peers at this point of time where maybe you guys are not decided yet on what type of degree programs that you want to enroll into. Yeah, because not all students will come with a specific thought or an idea. So for this group of students, do you think that there are additional activities or support that is available that they can find out about programs that is being offered in IMU that the students can get an exposure to? So could you please explain on that?
Okay, for the UG program, the IMU FIS, I find first of all the mentor-mentee system to be greatly beneficial to all students. This is due to the fact that any inquiries that the student have can be answered rapidly and accurately, leaving no doubts and worries floating in the mind. Mentors can easily be reached through private messages on Teams. For example, the inquiries regarding my undergraduate program in MBBS is answered very clearly by my mentor, especially about the partner medical school, the UG intake, and also the minimum requirement. On top of that, I think during the FIS period, there's always a briefing about all UGs Like today, I just finished my look, see, and feel briefing for pharmaceutical chemistry at the MDL1. So, and it's a very interesting. So, because you can really experience what the UG are really doing. So, I think that's all from me.
Can you just share what activities that they did in today's look see feel session? What did they talk about, or did you all do any activities?
Okay, first of all, they present about the partner medical school in Australia and also in the UK. On top of that, we also created a like a substance that can detect pH. Like it's a hydrogel that we created on our own by using the procedures given. And we need to bring our lab coat and wear formal, so it's the safety is ensured. And also I think it's a very good experience for students that are really interested in the program.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. And I believe that there are also a few more look, see, feel sessions that are upcoming in the next few weeks. All right. So these particular programs, the briefings that the students attend in the semester one, we call these sessions as look, see, feel. So these programs are done by the relevant degree programs that the students can attend for them to have an exposure to what sort of degree program that is, and to see whether they have some sort of interest. And with that, they can make a much more informed decision. So these are the type of one of the few supports that we have in foundation. So there is one question here that we can answer in the Q&A section. Perhaps I can direct this question to Devin. What are the extracurricular activities offered to students?
The extracurricular ranges from sports events to clubs and societies, and even to community kind of related clubs. So, if I'm not mistaken, if let's say sports, they offer a wide range of sports where you can join, such as maybe even board games club. You can join netball, volleyball, swimming, and for those under, let's say, clubs and societies, that like for me, I'm the president for First Aid Club, where you can join and improve and sharpen your first aid skills. But besides that, there's lots of interesting clubs. If I'm not mistaken, there's arts and craft. We have Japanese cultural club as well, and also there's one of my favorite also is like community service club, and that focuses on community outreach. So it really depends on what where your passion lies, and how would you like to expand it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Devin. So we do have a lot of activities that students can actually join in. All right, so thank you for that. There is also another one question in the Q&A panel. Is it possible for us to explain how the school calendar works? Because it's quite hard to understand. So we have the academic calendar attached to the webinar chat. You can download it. So if you take a look at this academic calendar, it will show you an entire foundation year, semester 1, 2, and 3, and it will mention where the orientation weeks are and where the lesson from the week 1 will begin. And also it will state when are the vacation periods and so on. So based on this academic calendar, you will be able to figure out the dates that is relevant for our upcoming intake, which is in September. All right. Okay, now maybe I can hand over the session to Benjamin for your next part.
Right, thank you, Ms. Shirley. So now we've known a lot more about what support and facilities are provided by FIS. So now we will look into a bit more on how FIS students can overcome difficulties, and what are some of the things that they can use to their benefit, use to their advantage. So I would like to direct this question to Iqbal. So Iqbal, yes, you mentioned that you are currently in semester 2. So, of course, there are lots of ups, and surely if there are ups, there will be downs. So, could you please share with us on your experience studying in FIS so far, and whether there are any particular likes and dislikes, and whether those dislikes can be improved on?
Okay, thank you, Benjamin. First of all, my experience in FIS is currently very wonderful, especially with a lot of friends from various backgrounds. For example, some of my friends are from international schools, private school, and also from government school. It's really interesting because I was an SPM graduate from a fully residential school. So it's really nice to get other point of views from other type of schools. As for my likes, I really encourage students to enroll into IMU FIS because it really good opportunity to be exposed to multicultural environments as well as the healthy competition among the students. On top of that, I think that the rotation of students in each class every semester is a very good initiative by the IMU FIS to create bonds between the students because every semester all the students will change classes. I think the rotation of students between each classes may be a dislike to others, but I find it as my likes because I think it's really nice to make new friends every semester. So you don't stick to only your friend group, and also you can broaden your horizon, your views, and also your point of view of other things with with other people. That's all from me.
Right. Thank you so much, Luke, on the rotational and also the multicultural aspect of IMU. So next, I would like to direct this question to Darwin on electives. So I think I saw one of the questions down there talking about the 4 electives in semester 3, and it's quite a bit confusing. So Darwin, can you explain a bit on what the electives are, and what electives did you choose in semester 3, and how has it been helpful in applying for your undergraduate program?
All right. So for electives, these are subjects that you can choose from in semester 3, ranging from psychology for healthcare sciences. We have biosciences. There is chemistry, and then, if I'm not mistaken, there is also statistics. So depending on your future undergraduate plans, for me, for dentistry and for medicine, I would highly recommend taking bioscience and also chemistry as your electives. But obviously, if you feel like your passion lies elsewhere, feel free to do so. But before you make a decision, it is advisable for you to discuss with your lecturers. For me, um, hearing from advice from my lecturers and also from my friends who are in undergraduate studies, bioscience is a very important elective to choose. Bioscience basically teaches you about the vast nature of microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. And having this core foundation is very important because as you go into like MBBS, into dentistry, you will be exposed to this knowledge, and it will be great for you to identify the important, let's say, bacteria or viruses for you to know in order to master these subjects. And at the same time, even same goes to chemistry as well. It gives you a good introduction to what is important in undergraduate level. So that's what makes foundation in science good, because they know what is the best way for you to efficiently learn, so that you don't need to learn all over the place in order to get good grades. Um, Furthermore, taking these electives actually forces you to be more mature in terms of your study methods, because for bioscience, just to give a heads up, there will be lots of information that you need to learn. And I remember my lecturers' understanding of situation and the advice that they gave. I remember with the many types of bacteria that you're going to learn, it is important for you to classify them in a logical manner, and also place importance in reviewing what you learn on a regular basis, so that whatever you learn keeps in your mind and you're able to retain it for a longer period. Yeah, so that's my opinion on the good electives that you should choose.
Thank you, Darwin. Adding to what you've said, I believe that for biosciences, it has become a compulsory module for those who are interested in taking up medicine and dentistry. So for our listeners, please do take note on that if you are going to semester 3 and you want to do medicine. And if you so happen to take psychology and something else like chemistry, but you want to do medicine, it will be much harder, as now biosciences is a compulsory module. So do consult with your mentors down the line. So yeah, thank you so much, Darwin. And I think I'll pass
And
back
sorry
to
to
Shirley.
interrupt. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Benjamin. So yes, to add on to what Benjamin mentioned, biosciences is actually the compulsory elective that is the students are supposed to take for those students who are planning to take medicine and also dentistry. All right. So, but as what Devin has mentioned, this is one of a very beneficial module that has been proven to be very, very helpful for students who progress into these very important programs. It has been helpful for them. Okay. Now we shall see some of the question here. So there's one question here. How many FIS students stay at nearby accommodations? If the students are traveling daily within 30 minutes to 60 minutes duration, will they have difficulty to follow the study since they need to do revision at home and they may be tired, considering the class is from 8 to 6? So I'd like to mention that the classes are not 8 to 6 on a daily basis. Our classes may be different schedule every day. The earliest class can start at 8, but not necessarily it starts at 8 every day. And the latest class of the day could be ending at 6 p.m. But again, not all the classes ends at 6 p.m. Sometimes the classes can end as early as 3:30 or 4 p.m. All right. So maybe I can ask this question to Ira. Ira, so you are traveling daily for classes?
That's right, Miss. So I stay 40 minutes away from IMU in Damansara Perdana. And I travel daily to IMU all 40 minutes. But I don't find any trouble with it because, for example, like you said earlier, it's not every day that we have full day of classes. At most, maybe we have like 3 classes that maybe finish, like if we start at 8, maybe we finish at like 4 or something like that. But for example, yesterday I had a class that was just from 8 to 10 and I only had one class. So I left early for class, maybe around like 7, so I could get there early. And then I had enough time to, like, you can spend some time to study whatever materials that you need for the class before then, find somewhere to sit. And you don't have to like, and you can always, like, you don't have to study at home. You can spend some time sitting there. If you find commuting tiring, there's many places to sit, like Iqbal mentioned earlier. There's like the library. We can spend some time studying in uni as well. And for example, today, on the other hand, I had a class at 2:45 to 4:45, so I can make my traveling flexible as I need to. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Ira. That's helpful for the attendees to know. So our study facilities are also open until about 11 or so at night. So students can actually stay back to do their tutorial homeworks or to have group discussions. So they don't really need to like rush back home. They can actually plan their time. Yeah, so that's how it works. There is this one question. Where can I register for the Look, See, Feel program? So Look, See, Feel programs are exclusive for our FIS students. They don't really need to register. Basically, they will mention their preferred degree courses the moment they enroll into our foundation. So based on that, we will extract, and then the students are like automatically registered to attend the sessions. But even then, students who did not mention their preferred, let's say they didn't choose medicine, but they want to see how these sessions work, they are always welcome to join. They will be given that opportunity to fill up their name. So this programs that's available in semester 2 is exclusive for our FIS students. Yeah. So next question. Is it better to use tablet or laptop for the study in FIS? So I can direct this question to one of our students also, maybe the current student, Iqbal. What's your thoughts? Will it be better to use laptop or tablet?
Personally, I think it's better to invest in iPad or tablet because like most of the tutorials question is better to have like handwritten notes and everything because like for me, I only use my laptop for assignment, but the assignment is not really required a laptop actually. And also in the library in IMU, also you can use the PCs that are available for everyone to use. So I highly encourage people who is currently thinking whether to buy an iPad or to buy a laptop. I would really prefer to go for the iPad actually.
Thanks, Iqbal. So we also would like to note and inform that new intake students, we have what we call as bring your own device, BYOD. So this is the system that we are currently practicing for our examinations, all right? So students are required to bring the laptops. So the specification of the laptops and all will be provided when the students are registering for the FIS program. So students are required to bring a laptop device that they will need to use for their assessments. So this is what we call as BYOD, bring your own device. So we would like to add that on as well to the question. Okay. All right. There are more questions here. I would like to ask if smart casual allowed during Monday to Thursday instead of full formal, and are jeans allowed during Friday? Also, sports shoes allowed Monday to Friday because there are cases where students take public transport to IMU and back home. Therefore, comfortable shoes are much needed. So, smart casuals are mainly for Fridays. Jeans is allowed for Fridays as well. Okay, but for Monday to Thursday, it's more of a professional dressing, formal wears. Sports shoe can. It's just that you're not allowed to use it on non-practical days. So on practical days, you will need to wear leather shoes. So that's due to the safety issues on the usage of chemicals and so on. All right. Okay. Now that we have almost covered a lot of questions here, there is a few more last few questions that we can cover now, and then we can wrap up with some final Q&A with our Deputy Director. All right. So let's talk about transition to degree. And I would like to ask this question to Ira. Okay. How has FIS actually helped you with the transition to your degree program? So you have entered degree from foundation, but I'm sure you have some peers and your friends who have entered degree from different pre-U levels. Maybe they have come from A levels, or maybe they have come from a different pre-U background. So how would you compare yourself? How are you able to adapt? Are there any differences between the coping mechanisms between you and your other friends who have come from different pre-U levels?
All right. So I would say that there are quite stark differences between us in two aspects, maybe the social aspect and the academic aspect. So in the social aspect, I would say that we're more familiar with the systems in place for IMU. Like we're more familiar with SSH and the IT department and our mentor systems and basically the people that we need to go through to get things done or to ask for help. So we're much more comfortable in our space in IMU, and also we have much less trouble breaking into the clubs and societies and like gaining positions because we've gotten more time to do some more networking. So I would say in terms of gaining positions for our CV and all those kinds of things, we have the slight upper hand we've had more time basically to break in here. And we also have a lot less trouble socializing, maybe because we feel like this is our home, like this is our playing field. We're quite used to it here, so we're a little bit more comfortable socializing too. I noticed that between us and the students that joined a bit later. As for academics, I actually had this experience in my first semester in my degree where I realized that a lot of what we learned in foundation was basically, well, the foundation for our studies in medicine. It's like we've already learned it, the basics, and all we have to do is add on a little bit. Whereas, especially in bioscience, where we learn about microbiology and all those kinds of things, it's like we're already set and ready to go. Whereas for students that came from A levels and others, maybe they had a little bit more trouble understanding certain things. They had to come to us, and like we could very excitedly give them our notes from foundation, and like we're ready. So I guess that was something that we also had. Yeah.
That's a huge advantage, actually. I can actually say like biosciences actually puts you all way ahead compared to the rest. That's one of the unique selling point that we have in foundation. Okay, thank you, Ira. We can start to wrap up. I would like to invite our Deputy Director, Ms. Sharon Chan, and later Dr. James. So both of them will be wrapping up with some other questions that they have found in the chat and in the Q&A. Over to you, Ms. Sharon.
Hi, everyone. A very warm welcome for tonight's session. I think these FIS students have pretty much covered most of what you have asked. And I think some of you have also asked about the timetable or the academic calendar, which I have also shared on the chat. And some of you have also asked about the syllabus. I have given you on the chat the syllabus. Please allow me to share screen, and maybe I then can explain to you a little bit about the syllabus if you don't mind. Okay, so this is what I shared. Shirley, can you verify if you can see my screen?
Yes, okay.
Thank you. All right. So this is the foundation in science. We have got 3 semesters, and each semester runs for 14 weeks. So in week 1 to week 13, it's what we call the learning weeks. And during these 13 weeks, you will be doing continuous assessments such as your practicals, your presentations, and your class tests. And these will be 50%. And then in week 14, you'll be sitting for the end of semester examination, and that will be 50%. So all in all, it is 50 plus 50 that makes up 100%. Now then in the second semester, so after a 2-week semester break, you progress into the second semester. Now the second semester, you have chemistry, biology, maths, English for healthcare professionals, where you will learn a little bit of communication skills in a clinical setting. And you will also learn physics for health sciences, where it is the applied physics in the human anatomy. Now comes semester 3, you heard a lot about the elective module biosciences, but the core modules are biology, thinking skills. I think you would have also heard from the team about cross-boundary studies, where you will be doing community service work together with your lecturers. It can range from working in shelter homes or the Somali refugee centers and things like that. Yeah, and that would wrap up your 3 semesters. And all in all, it is our module or our structure is 50% coursework and 50% exam. Our next intake is starting in a week's time, to be honest. It's in September. And the September intake will lead you nicely into next year, September, next year, September degree programs. Yeah, okay. I think that's about it from me. If you have any questions.
No questions for you at the moment, Ms. Sharon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. James? So
Hi,
we have
everybody.
our director. Yeah.
Excuse my casual style. I'm on vacation. If I was dressed in this t-shirt, I wouldn't be allowed into class by Miss Sharon. So, well done to the panelists and great questions from our prospective students. Our panelists were once like you, full of mystery and what's ahead. And I think they've given you a very clear understanding of what's ahead and how you can do it with hard work and professionalism and having a good work-life balance. As Iqbal said, sports, and there's time for sports and there's time for study. So they're all great examples. When you hopefully join us for Foundation, you will still have access to the senior buddies. So they are the panelists who are in undergraduate, etc., in all undergraduate programs. And you can talk to them personally about their journey from school through FIS to chiropractic or medicine or dietetics and nutrition or even business or new exciting courses. So the network of seniors is very important to us. And these seniors have done a great job. So thank you very much, you guys. Miss Sharon and I can retire and you can take over running Center for Pre-U from tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, Dr. James. So I think we have a few questions here that Ms. Sharon can help to address. One question, can I join other universities after FIS in IMU?
Okay, all right. That's a very good question, actually, Priya. So yes, you can join other universities after FIS in IMU because the program is MQA accredited. We do have students who finish the foundation in science and then decide science and healthcare is not their cup of tea, and they go on to do degree programs like communications and law and business. So yes, to answer your question, we have students who have gone on after completing FIS to do other degree programs in other universities. Right.
Thank
Can
you,
I
Ms.
add to
Sharon.
that,
Yeah.
Miss Shirley, if I
Yes.
can add to that, IMU is the only private university foundation course accepted by the public universities in Malaysia, UM,
Yes.
UK, etc. You can go directly to foreign universities on a case-by-case basis if your CGPA is 3.5 or above. But obviously, we want you to progress into our degrees in IMU, and typically about 85% of the students progress into our degrees. As Miss Sharon said, some change subject, want to do some subject that we don't have in foundation, such as physiotherapy, etc. They used to leave us to do business and arts and humanities programs, but we're starting those now. So we expect our progression to get higher. So yes, the acceptance is high, but IMU is the best place for you to progress into after your foundation. Thank you.
James, I have another question for you from one of the attendees. Is there a new campus for FIS next year? If yes, please share the details.
Yeah, okay. The new campus is in the technology park very close to us where APU University is. It's in the old building called APIT, Asia Pacific Institute of Technology. And we will have a shuttle buses going to and from IMU main current campus from the LRT station and from the accommodation, which is right beside our campus in Vista Commonwealth. And what's the other one, Sharon?
Sorry?
There's two accommodations beside us, the Vista Commonwealth and what's the other one?
Commonwealth,
The
Covillion.
Savannah,
Savannah.
Covillion,
Covillion.
and then
Yeah.
further up the road across stadium is the Arena Green. Yeah.
So they'll be co-located and they'll be very close, so you won't be far away. And the new campus will be state of the art. And the primary program that will be moving there will be foundation programs in arts and science and some undergraduate programs. The clinical programs such as medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, dietetics, chiropractic will stay in the existing campus when you eventually progress into them, because that's where the clinics are. But don't worry, the new campus move will not disrupt your studies, so it'll be an exciting new adventure for all of us.
will next year's FIS students be studying in the new campus? That's another question.
Okay, so once the campus is ready and all the regulations allow us to move in, we will move in on a intake by intake basis. We will not move you mid-semester to disrupt your studies. You will move either on enrollment if it's a new intake, but if it's the September intake, FS 324, we will only move you after you've completed a semester exam and had your break, so it will not interrupt your studies. So the answer is yes, but provisional on the campus being completed, which it will be, and the regulations all being completed.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. James. I have one question to Ms. Sharon. What is the attendance policy for students that they have to maintain?
Okay. Technically, the attendance is compulsory. The students have to fulfill a 75% attendance for all lectures and classes. For international students, the percentage is slightly higher. It's 85% as required by the immigration department. So, yeah, every single lecture and tutorial attendance is considered. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sharon. I have two more last questions for you. So until when can the students send in their applications? And is there any waiver available for them?
Okay. Waivers are ongoing. So as long as you apply, you will be getting the waiver. We are open. The September intake is open until the end of the month by, hopefully, if you can get in by September 30th, because the first assessment, as in the first class test for English and mathematics, begins on October 7th and October 9th. Yes, so it would be nice if you can make up your mind and register and join us before October, so that you can settle in comfortably before the first assessments and the first practicals. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. And there is another question here. How far is the new campus from old campus?
Okay. The new campus from the old campus is about 2 km away, 2 kilometers away. About 10 minutes drive without traffic. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we also have a bursary related question.
Sure.
Ms. Sharon. Okay. So it's possible that a student receives the progression bursary to offset first year undergraduate and also scholarship, if any, from FIS.
Yes. So the model this year for all students who enroll with us, if it is 8 A's and below, you will be getting an 8,000 ringgit progression bursary, which will be offsetted in your first year degree program. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Okay, I guess we have wrapped up almost all the question and answers. And I think we can wrap up the session if there is nothing else.
Maybe you can share with them our contact details.
Yes, sure.
So if they have any more, then they can contact us.
Okay, so the details shown in the screen right now are the contact details for our Deputy Director, Ms. Sharon, and our FIS Director, CPU Director, Dr. James. If you have any further questions related to admission matters, please feel free to get in touch with them. Okay, so I think we can end the session now, as we have completed all the questions and answers. And a big thank you to all the students who have attended the sessions, and you have given a very valuable feedback and inputs to the questions that the attendees had. And thank you also to our Deputy Director and Director for answering some questions as well.